when joy reminds you of it. When Sundoes and Sundays and breakfast suggest it, you make the best eggs you've made in a month. And they're burnt sun bottom and firm, full of time and intent, and there's no hot sauce, there's no salt, and there's no onion, just heat, selective movement, and a wish when you lift each tender cloud of joy to your mouth, and it tastes and it smells good, and it tastes amazing, and you realize that this is something you learned for her, how to make love an ingredient when loss aches physically. The day you identify a tweak in your intestines as the absence of a look, when passion became a concrete noun, a tone of voice, the particular conditioning of a stranger's hair is breathable to you somehow, and you bleed a little when you see it pass, when life becomes so free that it's practically a vacuum, and you could fractal beer choices in bar atmospheres for months, and the drunk reminds you of it. When sober suggests it, or its absence, and drinking one more was it, and the dark is, when the dark comes, and your words are wings dipped in tar, so you whisk those words into the text message application of your choice, but at the last second, you stop, and it stings, but you take that phone, you stuff it deep down in the pockets of your jeans, and you go for a walk when you're walking, but your gait drags. You feel a pity, but it's a tight pity. It's a little tight in your shoulders, so you sit when you're sitting. But the longing feels quaint, so you say, fuck it, I'm going to go home and put on my most ridiculous hat. And you eat a sandwich bigger than your face. And you say something to a stranger on the train that could get you slapped. I don't know what you do. I don't know what is done. I don't know where you go. Wherever you go there, and you do it, and it's done, and you live, and maybe you feel proud when you feel proud, and the old arguments are moot, and you've grown some and outgrew the inside jokes in anime, and you get steady money now and meditate on the weekends, and you even knock boots now and then, but even then, when even movement reminds you you've moved, reminds you that movement means ground, and that ground is required to fly, that otherwise everything is just space, then what do you do? Thanks. That poem was called A Strange Place for Snow. I wrote it after the breakup of my first long-term relationship several years ago now. In the transition point between relationships right now as we speak. And and so I've decided to do all poems that are either breakup poems or poems about love for today's set as a way of exercising those demons and welcoming the angels as well, right? Okay. So this is a new poem from my new baby. There's a really great, because I don't have anywhere near enough poems to fit the 20 fucking minutes that here's what I have.
I'll just give you more freedom.
I appreciate it. So I work in King of Prussia. I take the Northtown High Speed line, 69th Street, take the L over to 40th and Market, and I walk down 40th Street to get to the trolley to get back to Westville. And so I was walking down like one of those chance like warm days that we were having, and it was still basically winter, and I come upon this couple, and they were both young, they were both black. The dude was like in front of me, and he had a child, he had a little boy up like a satchel on his back, like as a backpack, you know what I mean? And the woman, who I presume was the mother, was like right in front of them. And just as I was coming up, they were like right in the middle of a super intricate handshake with like slides and all different types of like, like an NBA type joint, And at the end, they ended it with just like a little peck on the lips. And it was just the most beautiful thing that I had seen. I just started this relationship too, right? So it was the most beautiful thing that I've seen in a long, long time. So I immediately went home and I wrote this poem. So this poem is called Instructions for a Secret Handshake. One hand patty cake right onto the backhand side. A 5-finger E.T. the extraterrestrial. Slide the inside holster to the crook of our thumbs, mad precise like with a bump at the end, maybe two. Smirks. Twin arm wrestlers' elbows, the fulcrum of our hands, now swinging suggestion of shadow bird casting a release. A terrorist fist jab. A polite handshake strong, a lingering hand pretty, the palm press. Interlocking fingers still rigid, twisting fountain rising between the two sides of an ongoing stare, the bisection of eyes, brains, teeth, cheesing, twin crescent moons. High face, left flip, high looking at your own hand. High face, right flip, diagonal sway like a dance. Peel off these nuts signs in a chain, or maybe they're devil horns, or maybe they're deer heads, each picking their own interpretation and not telling the other what it is, no matter how much they try. Sudden slap of the right hand in an arc that sounds like a gunshot, pop. Grip like a bus pole, twists, lean back like we ain't never gonna fall, leap in a semicircle to the right, the running man, the cha-cha, the cabbage patch with this like 1-2 twist thing at the end that we mess up, both of us. You. Dusting dirt off shoulders, both, while I'd all be like, yeah, you know that's right. You. Arms wide, full sun, shaking shoulders while I be all tippy-toed and horn mouth like y'all all better know that's right, me. Dusting dirt off own shoulder, left, quick but clear, reserved, but also understanding that I'm fly while you stare, saying nothing, small smile. Me. Face melting into clay, rubbing own shoulder, right like I pulled something, looking up from the valley of my neck while you stare. Me, stepping toward you, broad chest, clear-eyed, turning nowhere while you stare. Stare at you, staring at me, stare. Throw in like an extra poem somewhere because I feel guilty because I got 20 minutes to work with here. All right, so this is this is more of in the past. This is a new poem. Almost all of these are new poems. It's called Next Lifetime. What's up?
New shit.
New shit. Yeah. I almost forgot that existed. It takes so long to listen enough to choose love. Assume the pain in the position, be a crutch of wheat. The brazen core of me laid on a centerpiece is not a suggestion that anyone can feast here. To say how dare I sink underneath you, an excuse for a forever flaw. There is no right choice. It takes a generation of loss before the child of love is shown the sky, and their skin is as certain as our hate. Dream, a concrete verb for living here on earth, as if there remains a synonym left for peace. So I wrote both that piece and I wrote a companion piece to that. That was like for like transitioning out and getting over my older relationship. The piece that I wrote the same day will be coming up a little bit later. This poem's called My Reaction When. My reaction when describing the tight interior of my North Philly J-Dub Hall of the Kingdom, and my first crush, in who I was supposed to love, femme, light-skinned, faithful, soft voice, good mother, good cook, good father, elder, and who I actually love, lighter-skinned, worldly, pear-hipped, mean, sister of shrimp, father of ex-20M squad, sex, died of a cause I was never fully told, HIV, and how I fucked then, right hand, face down and penis backward, pillow, grandmother's vase full of spit and Vaseline, still enough to look sleeping, under door light, startled hallway foot traffic, books, brush handles, a Dina Howard radio edit, and who I fucked then, no one, myself, the devil, objects, sounds, books, scraps of Adam and Eve catalogs, scrap of any hug from anyone who would actually touch me, thighs with my eyes, breasts with my eyes, face with my eyes, floor with my eyes quick, sky with my eyes quick, anything that didn't have eyes with my eyes quick, no one. And your leg absorbed my softening cock, and your lids hooded wolf again, and you whispered to me, full of knowledge and full of pride. Yeah, I tend to date a lot of witches for some reason. It just kind of happens. And I wrote this today. I'm like still editing it. I printed it out, but I still edit more of it. How to put a spell on someone. Ingredients. Naked trust, 2 teaspoons of old sweat, a gas from the subject's lungs that cuts off at a wry smile, tight shirt in the springtime, acute childhood reduced into a red wine, the proofed corpse of an angel, Julian mints with the devil's joke, a spectrum of love, essence of the subject's dad smell, bruised stomach, a pinch of kinked hair, zest of teased flirt in a public place, instructions.
I'll be here tomorrow night with Mike to wear the Capitals. Absolutely.
Instructions. I am whatever the language says I am. You mixed into the breath of my day. I poached pear in the wake of half a text message. You insist on cream from the root. I fold 3 weeks worth of weight. You blade me in half from afar. Boil into a paste. Ferment the purest extract. The broiler browning more with every secret told. The lingering memory of a single taste. Alright, I'm going to do 2 more, I think. This poem is not a love poem because I just got, I got freedom. That's the lesson of this. That I got freedom and that I should definitely drink more during readings. I forgot what that was like. This poem's called Tastemaker. Reality is whatever the white girl says it is, having left Athens, clothed in robes, a bow tie, chartreuse, plump with thought, fat with good and books, and sharp of English professors, double A, 500 plus words, protesting something full of a particular fear, smallness, and also a black boy, dead and cute school photo, muffled in a safe dirt wherever black folks' bones end up buried. This poem's called Gates. When I met Bill Gates among a throng of cute 19 to 22-year-old brown college students, the grass was softer than on TV. The chance times my grandma background the Ryder's Cup for a cut to a fist-pumping tiger. The beer was local brewed before iPods became iPhones. Before Google had a Gmail, Bill Gates stood cradling himself in his own arms in front of his own house to a throng full of almost interns. And the first thing that I noticed was that he was short, like 5'8". Nothing much really, like little Kev crossed the street size pretty much, and he was rocking slowly, left to right. But the weird thing was, when he opened his mouth, it was suddenly clear he was not scared. Out a small, unamplified version of the same warbly falsetto that was cliched if he wasn't the model of the cliche in a mid-90s cartoon show, Recess's Gretchen, Gyro Gear Loose, PJ's Calvin, Dexter's Lab, the nerd behind the nerd, before a spectrum was a rainbow made of puzzle piece. Warren C. Longmire, had a stuttering thought that wrestled my words that I like to call Bill Gates' foot. Most of the colored kids there wore glasses, looked funny, loved Worf. Bill Gates' eyes were open and soft and tired. Silent listening, the only time he ever stopped swinging, and spilled awkwardly into a room full of the same stuttering, curious, young tinkering, comp sci design marketing, asking us if there was anything that we wanted to know, to just do good, think clear, and build something useful today. And thank you so much. Thank you, Bob, for approaching and getting me out here and getting me to bring like both of these two poets that I love so much as people to be able to be up here on stage with me. That means a lot. And this is like super chill, and I really appreciate you needing this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, come on. This poem is a love poem. It's the most recent one, and it's super. I'm like still editing it, so like it's whatever. If you got ideas or questions, the title kind of sucks. So if you have suggestions, like feel free to tell me. It's called Infinitely the Limit. Oh yeah, and real quick, like this coming Saturday, there's an amazing open mic at Pinterest Station in West Philly. I'll be there. Denise Frauman's going to be there. Raquel, Poet's going to be there.
Sunday.
It's Sunday?
It's the 3rd, right?
I don't remember.
I think it's the 3rd.
It's the 3rd?
Pretty
Shit,
sure.
thank you, man.
Yeah.
I would have came on the wrong day.
Pretty sure it's Sunday.
Okay, cool. Just look on. It's called We Too Are Philly. Just search for it on Facebook. Don't quote me on it. Okay. So this is the poem. It's called Infinitely the Limit. I was never enough to see me single and only and brave. Maybe one day, but now is not my time. Just close, infinitely, the limit of one over some unknown. And he couldn't, tried, can't see himself, let alone me, without I being the monster first. I like the monster in the dark. In the light, the monster is whatever she fears or he needs to fight besides himself. Defines himself by what the monster is not, or what prey dies, or her eyes, or whatever makes her prey, or praying to something which is always the monster in sunlight. And she tried, but just as ego as all of us as me, she, I, but separate, pushing away, she likes the monster in the dark. In the light, she likes the monster as a way of being the light, and finding a shade until it feels dark inside her. Then the monster has to die, so I do. She can never see the I in he, only the monster. The I sees what is reflected back. He sees the reflection in her grimace and the newspaper. I became whatever the language says I am. And then they answered. They, the bare nerve, broad and sweet, a plural more than any one monster, a tethered puppet arm. They not like the royal we, though I'm reminded of it if leader was the real kind, the one who eats last. They like the whole of me. I am they even as we split. My being pure emotion curled into the fractal of them. Umbilical blood-shaped and shimmering night smell. More of your joy than any particular sound. Thank you.